Design. It's what makes our world both functional and beautiful. But most design is geared towards about 10% of the world. What about the other 90%? Often crowded into cities with limited resources. They are inspiring and producing a whole new wave of design. Groundbreaking.
The transport system is one of the most powerful things to change things, to connect the society.
Insightful.
As an architect and a designer, the most important thing for me is to actually understand the problem.
And inspirational.
This project really exposed me to this whole another avenue of social impact that's, I think, really needed and it needs to be addressed by designers.
Design with the other 90% takes us to the forefront of a design revolution that is changing the way that we look at each other and our world. Kibera, one of the largest slums in East Africa. In Kenya, more than 4 million people live in squatter communities like this. Often marginalized and written off, when in fact, these settlements are filled with life and great ideas.
They are the most vibrant communities because everybody knows each other. There's a sense of belonging, there's a sense of ownership, there's a sense of community there.
Around the world, nearly 1 billion people live in communities like these. That number is expected to double by 2030. It's easy to see this as a huge problem. What if we looked at the potential? In 2007, the Cooper Hewitt Design Museum launched Design with the Other 90%. It's a timely initiative to document and celebrate the groundswell of design innovation emerging from the other 90% of us that designers have typically overlooked. For a 2010 follow-up exhibition, curator Cynthia Smith traveled the globe seeking projects with ingenuity and impact. Some are large-scale, others brilliantly simple. But in every case, they are significant because they show us a new way to imagine our world. Visionary, revolutionary, and inspiring. That's the heart of Design with the Other 90%.
We have the ability to have a better planet, a planet where we have inclusive cities, where we have sustainable cities, engines of poverty reduction, all of us working together to come up with a brighter world, a better solution, a sustainable world.
The potential is tremendous. But where to begin? Designers' first step for any new project is to take a good hard look at what exists and what's needed. In Kenya, Kibera had a thriving community, but they needed many things. First among them, visibility.
Those with power and those with money, they need to see these people and they need to recognize the innovation that's involved in just being able, with nothing, no support, to figure out a way to live, to get a foothold in the city, to survive.
Just a few years ago, Kibera was uncharted territory on Nairobi's official maps. A blank spot, but a blank spot that's home to about 1 million people.
And of course, if a government can't see something as a number, it doesn't exist.
The consequences of being invisible to city planners are huge. Without proper information, it's impossible to provide adequate roads, sanitation, police protection, or city services. In order to see change, Kibera needed to claim its place on the map. In 2007, volunteers for a group called Map Kibera took to the streets. Their tools, simple GPS systems, and keen eyes. They began systematically walking the community, mapping Kibera step by step.
Okay, mostly what we normally map is schools, hospitals, chemistries, and organizations, and also baby cares.
After months of work, the blank spot that was Kibera began filling in.
Like you can see over there, there's a bio center, it's a toilet. As you can see the other side, there's a big hospital.
Map Kibera pinpointed water and sanitation locations, crime areas, and health clinics. Information critical to the lives of the people living there. And information is power.
You can then go to your local government and say, look, we know there's 750,000 people, 1 million people, 1.5 million people. It allows them to take that information and bring it forward to the proper authorities and say, look, there's some real needs here. They're creating their own voice.
With a voice and identity, 1 million strong, Kibera's people can now transform their community. An important first step? Finding the best use for their crowded space. Ibrahim Maina lives in Kibera. He's a manager for KDI, a group that designs and builds community areas. Today, the team works on a multi-purpose center that will house a school and community meeting hall.
As you see, Kibera is very much congested. So we decided to secure this space and train the members of Kibera that as much as we have the small portion, you can make use of that.
How we normally go about it, we just come to the community, we hear the proposals from the community, then we gather all this information which everybody can understand.
Once the plans are final, local artisans provide both skill and labor.
Yeah, you have to be very careful.
In 2007, Kibera Public Space Project began reclaiming land around Kibera's main tributaries. Cut off from city services, residents use the waterways as a dump. And with only one toilet for every 250 people, a sewage system, the community mobilized and began the messy job of reclaiming the land. Kibera has no heavy machinery, so the work gets done by hand.
And that work was done voluntarily. No one was being paid to do that work. It's only the spirit of togetherness.
In Africa, we believe that all human beings are our brothers and sisters. That's the spirit of Ubuntu. And one particular call of Ubuntu, the famous one is, I am because we are. But the one I'd like to cite in this instance is, I participate, therefore I am.
As the tons of waste disappeared, Kibera's public space design materialized. Community gardens sprang up, along with playgrounds, a soccer field, and a public sanitation block. The Public Space Project goal is to become self-sustaining. One women's group raises funds by selling baskets woven from plants growing wild on the edge of Kibera. Mary Nasimiyu is a group leader.
My dreams for the children, I want them to learn very hard because even me, I am just working very hard for them after school. They can find, maybe they can find a job. After job, they can go and stay in a good place. And then they can take me from here.
Within the hubbub of Kibera's crowds, Mary and her friends use this public space to run their own business and help support their community. That's the kind of result that designers hope for.
By creating a sense of community through the architectural planning of the public spaces. There's a sense in which people are able to reconnect with others and then also create opportunities for collective work.
Ibrahim Maina is happy with what he and his neighbors have accomplished, but knows it's just the start.
So what I'm trying to do is trying to empower the community to come up with ideas that can overcome the issues that they're facing. I tend to think that Kibera is one of the best places for a person like me to stay, because life in Kibera is what will make it. Because if you are hardworking, life is very sweet in Kibera.
Creativity is the spark. Good design is the engine. And community is the fuel. Empowering people to improve their lives. Thousands of miles from Kibera, another community faces a different set of challenges. And a group of young designers sets out on a mission to understand. In 2009, students from California Art Center College of Design traveled to Campamento San Jose, an informal settlement on the outskirts of Santiago, Chile, to see firsthand how residents there manage their water.
Mi hija se fue a ganar acá. Nosotros le pegamos una chuparta manguera, la colgamos, tiradita para acá, le pegamos una sopladita suavecita y empezamos a bailar tiruruli.
The students worked with a Chilean organization, Un Techo para Chile.
Entonces, lo invitamos porque creemos que tenemos algo que decirle, que es potente, y queremos ahí poner la semilla de este cambio grande que estamos haciendo.
We expected there to be a scarcity of water, but water trucks that irrigate the street trees then deliver water to these communities after they're finished delivering. It's then stored in barrels outside of the home. And then for every task, women will then fill up these types of containers and they'll move water bucket to bucket to bucket. And starting to understand that as designers helped us then design products around managing that water.
Well, I think designers always have to try and understand what it's like for somebody else. And the easiest way to do that is to experience it themselves. So if you're designing something, just go and try and do it.
After 2 weeks of living in San Jose, the students collaborated with designers and community members to compile their ideas, spawning some simple yet ingenious solutions.
We're going to see two projects, Gota Gota and Relava, and they're the projects over here. So Gota Gota was designed by 3 students, and it's a gravity-fed water system. This is a pressurized water pump system that pumps the water from the ground into this gravity-fed system here, and that until it flows the water back to the kitchen water system here into this Relava.
Plans are underway to manufacture and distribute these products worldwide. What makes the student design so great is that they use inexpensive and readily available materials to solve common problems. In South Africa, designers employ that same basic design philosophy to tackle yet another challenge. Freedom Park is a typical South African township, an informal settlement, gradually spreading one single-story shack at a time. As the population grows, available land for housing shrinks, and that's a problem.
As an architect and a designer, the most important thing for me for any project I do is to actually understand the problem. And when you understand the problem, then you try and find various ways to solve it. So we started a process of first understanding what kind of site do we have. These sites are very narrow, 7.5 meters by 15 meters deep. What do you do in that situation?
The obvious answer? Build up. But traditional 2-story homes would be cost prohibitive, requiring too much wood and concrete. Luyanda and an engineer came up with an ingenious design. 2-story houses made from sandbags.
I was an army engineer, And one of the challenges that we faced, we had very little materials. And over time, we realized that we had to be fairly innovative. And the one thing that you get plenty of in the army is sandbags. Thermally and acoustically, it's fantastic. It is really, really, really tough. This is a sandbag. Because it's a stitch bond bag, it can't spread in its width, but it can spread enormously in its length. And that enables the bag to force itself between the beams and give you a more stable structure.
The key to this design is the EcoBeam, a strong and light lattice made from 2 timber beams and a zigzag strip of metal. A house built with EcoBeams needs about 80% less timber. It's cost-effective, uses local materials, and is easy to work with. A great idea, but people were skeptical.
For me, one of the most moving things was firstly to negotiate with the people that I'm going to be building a different house. We're going to build it with sandbags. So we had to take them through the process of getting them to buy in, to accept that this will be a decent house. The other critical thing was that we got the people involved in the building. And they take a different kind of ownership than people who were just sitting and waiting for a house to be built for them.
It literally takes about an hour and a half probably to teach somebody to use this system. It really is that simple. The heaviest component on the site is 7 kilos once the bag is full of sand. And that's a very easily maneuvered weight. Great fun to build. Granny can help. All the kids can help. And we can literally build anywhere.
At the beginning, everybody was excited to something new. If you should see the sand on their faces, if the wind are blowing and they fill the sandbags and you see how their faces are full of sand, the children come, the children assisted. So every day was excitement for them to come here, even if it means there's no food on the table, but to be here was important to them.
I took a lot of lessons even to design this because I went into the shanty towns and understood how do people live. Obviously, there is a bigger sense of decency and dignity that I find when they own a house, which is of this kind of quality.
This for me is precious, you know. I cherish it because I never had a house of my own.
And you will see that most of the houses that we have developed are actually double-story with a narrow footprint, so that you can actually give the people a little bit of play area, you know, also to expand the house. You can see that each one has got a different color because for us it was important to make sure that each individual actually has identity with their house. We'll be doing a lot more to take the achievements to a level where people start feeling that their lives are becoming better. The quality of life is taking a trajectory upwards.
So the idea of applying design processes to these new complicated situations and challenges, using interdisciplinary teams with design thinking is something that promises a lot towards helping the world to move forward.
The successes in Freedom Park and Kibera show how good design can benefit individuals and communities. But some designers are thinking even bigger, to transform entire cities. Medellin, Colombia. The barrio of Santo Domingo clings to the steep mountain slopes above the city. For decades, gangs of drug traffickers ruled these streets, which became some of the most dangerous in the world. Crime and geography conspired to sever the residents from the city below. But in 2004, city planners decided it was time to unite Medellin.
15 years ago, you can't be outside. You can't be after 5 p.m., 6 p.m. This was a very, very complex place.
From the city below, the barrio of Santo Domingo was seen as dangerous and distant. But Echeverri could only see its potential, a vibrant community, sparkling with culture and life. Echeverri and his colleagues had a vision for a new city. They decided to turn Santo Domingo into a cultural mecca and entice commerce and the rest of Medellin to come to these neighborhoods. The project began by building public parks, playgrounds, and even internationally recognized state-of-the-art libraries. But getting people to visit from the valley below was literally an uphill battle. Medellin streets are narrow and steep, difficult and time-consuming for buses to navigate. The hill and the valley felt like two separate worlds.
Mi nombre es Oscar Santana, soy arquitecto nacido en Medellín y trabajo actualmente en la empresa de desarrollo urbano del municipio de Medellín. Subíamos, las personas decían, voy para Medellín, o sea, pero esto es Medellín. Y se mencionaban voy para Medellín, o sea que había históricamente en su imaginario un sentido de exclusión que les decía, yo soy de Santo Domingo, pero no soy de Medellín. Y lo que se buscaba era generar conectividad entre los diferentes barrios, incluso también como una estrategia como de intercambio, llamémoslo, de población, que históricamente ha tenido límites muy marcados.
Echeverri and his fellow designers looked to the sky for an answer. Enter Metro Cable.
The transport system is one of the most powerful things to change things, to connect the society, to put in contact the different places of the city.
The cable car system united the city, while bridges linked neighborhoods across mountain streams. Parks, libraries, and cultural events soon began to attract people from around the region. Like the Rivera family, who now make weekly trips to Santo Domingo.
Cuando lo pusieron no pensamos que nos iba a servir tanto. Cuando salimos de compras o cuando vamos a pasear o a veces vamos a las estaciones a llevar a los niños a jugar. Entonces subimos hasta la biblioteca.
Metro Cable's line to Santo Domingo carries some 18,000 passengers a day, climbing more than a mile in less than 15 minutes to what was once considered the most dangerous barrio in Medellin. Santo Domingo is now bustling. Lina Maria Toro and family migrated to Santo Domingo several years ago. She has witnessed the transformation.
No, salía uno de la casa pues normal al parquecito de la cuadra y ya. En cambio ya por esto, ya la gente sube más, entonces ya hay más turismo. O sea, los negocios comerciales empiezan que a vender una cosa, que a vender otro. Yo creo que le está yendo mejor en ese sentido. O sea, de una manera espectacular nos cambió la vida a todos porque unió barrios que creímos que no uniría a eso. Y el Metro Cable los unió.
Medellin's architects and planners have given their neighbors a new perspective on their city.
La verdad, la primera vez fue traumante. Sí, porque fíjate, uno está pues siempre a una altura prudente.
I am happy with the work that we start to do, but the thing is that we always are thinking how to go on. What is the next step? And if you see, Medellin is huge.
Metro Cable demonstrates the power of design to change lives and communities. And it shows us a new vision of the future. As our global population grows and more people flock to cities for jobs and opportunities, informal settlements could pose huge challenges or limitless possibilities.
The people who are flooding to these hugely growing, fast-growing cities, mostly in the southern hemisphere at the moment, are the ones who are going to have this sort of energy of innovation, energy of new people coming from different places. the overcrowding in itself producing something which has got an excitement and a richness about it. So perhaps our future world-class city is going to be the one that combines the informal settlement with the tradition of a city as we've known it in the past.
So there's this real effort by visionary mayors and designers working with the community to create more inclusive cities.
Mwana